Alright, so I'm going to try to just do a quick video on this. These are the two bows I bought this year. This Elite Hunter 33. I hunted with it this year. I killed a buck. I killed 2 does with it. I did a great job. 20 to 30 yards. No complaints. Great hunting bow. I decided that I wanted to play around and eventually try to do some tack stuff. You've heard me talk about in other videos. I'm dying to go to some tack events just for the fun of it. Not because I think I'm any professional archer whatsoever. I'll probably have to buy about 450,000 arrows when I go, so that way I can actually shoot an entire course. With the 133, when I tried to, I guess, set it up for that potential, or to try to shoot even just for myself in my yard for fun. It's the off season, so shooting 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 yards is just fun to see if you can do it. Like the video I did the other day, just trying to pop some balloons just for shits and giggles. I could not get this thing to shoot good groups past 60. I went through multiple sight tapes with this Spot Hog sight that I originally had on here. This whole setup that I have on my Lift RS, besides the rest I had on his 133 after season. This is exactly how I had it all throughout hunting season. Like I said, 20 to 30 yards, put it right in the pocket. I tried messing around with it, tried doing different things with it myself to get it to shoot properly for me. Wouldn't work. Called a dealership that I got it from. They tried to get me into an Elite Allure, which would have been perfectly fine. It would have fit me good, fit my draw length good. I could have maxed out the poundage on it and basically got every bit of speed out of it that it advertised, or at least close to it. But I just could not get myself, and this is just me, and I guess just a man's mindset, I have no idea, but I could not get myself to shoot a bow that was strictly advertised for a female hunter, for a female shooter. And the gentleman on the phone, he tried to tell me that that was not the case. You go on Elite's website, all they show is women shooting the bow. I mean, the name Allure alone, it sounds like it's supposed to be a perfume. And any review video you look up on it, every single one of them is either a man reviewing it for a female shooter or a female shooter who had just bought the bow, who is reviewing it and saying how much they love it. It's an awesome bow from all the reviews that I've watched. So nothing against it whatsoever. I just couldn't do it. And they didn't have any other bow in their lineup for a small frame shooter like myself. So I started looking elsewhere. That's where I found that Lift RS. And with prior experiences, when I would shoot bows years and years ago, when I was shooting compound bows, when I shot a longer axle bow, I did not shoot it as good. Even out to 40 yards, I was having a harder time with it. So 3D shoots, things like that, were always a pain in the ass. Then they came out with the Hoyt Spider 30. Even though it wasn't necessarily built for a small frame shooter, it was a small bow in general. So at my draw length, which I shot that one at 27 inches, my draw length's actually 25 and a half, but I've jumped around with multiple bows like that. And between 25 and a half and 27, I can shoot very comfortable with either one. At 27 inches with my Spider 30, I could shoot some fairly light arrows. So I had that bow shooting, it was right around 315 feet per second. I was shooting 65-pound limbs, and I liked the draw cycle. I liked the way their cam was. They had that, I think they call it the cam and a half system. So I was actually getting a full or at least a mostly full rotation out of the cam, which where, with Bowtech or Mathews or any of the other brands, if you shot a shorter draw length, you were being stopped before you could get a full cycle out of the cam. And at my draw length, I mean, I was getting maybe 2/3 of a cycle. So I really wasn't maximizing the performance of the bow whatsoever. But with that Hoyt, it made a load of a difference. So ever since then, when I would try to fit a shooter to a bow, if I saw a guy like me come in, 5'6", 25-inch, 26-inch draw, I would always try to get them into a short draw. And I actually would have guys coming in. You want to sell, being a retailer, you want to sell, the most expensive product that you have, the thing that's, advertised, whatever. I didn't have the heart to do that. I would, if that's what a guy wanted, if they wanted the brand new carbon bow for $2,000 and they wanted it all set up with all the best features, but I could tell just by them shooting it that they weren't getting 250 feet per second out of it. I would just sell it to them if that's what they wanted, if they were dead set on it. But I actually, in that time frame, sold a ton of the Hoyt Spider 30s. And then I think it was the Mission Craze that Mathews came out with. That bow was another nice short bow that guys my draw length could shoot, and actually shoot faster than they would some of the bigger name flagship bows, which is always nice. You like to see your arrow leave your bow as flat as possible, as long as possible, rather than watch it just gradually, parachuting through the air nice and slow until it finally hits the target. I don't want to be able to see it hit the target. I just want to hear it. So I ended up going out to Ravelin Hill Archery in Panama. I'm just going to call them out because they did an excellent job there. They had one of these bows set up, a used one, at 57 pounds. This one has 60-pound limbs on it, but it was actually pulling back at like 58 and a half. It was right around there. It was just under 59 regardless. This bow shot 12 feet per second faster than this bow did at 57 pounds. And I asked them for 65-pound limbs, which I'm glad that Mathews is doing that now, because that was basically what switched me from Mathews to Hoyt in the first place, because I shot my Z7 Extreme for a little while, and that bow fit me really good. I shot it really good. That was one of the only bows I had that at the time I could go to 3D shoots and I would shoot at 50, 60 yards and be confident. If you're shooting a shorter draw length and you have a longer axle bow, you have a greater opportunity to torque that bow if you're not anchoring correctly. Especially when you're doing stuff like me, if you try to shoot a little bit over your draw length, and I can figure out how to set up my bow so that way I'm not rubbing on my face and doing all that stuff. But regardless, you're going to touch your face just a little bit. You're going to touch your cheek as you're trying to reach your nose, this, that, and everything. Or you're going to have to completely lean into it, which is going to make you torque your bow too. And none of us want that. So, yeah, so that was my experience then. Now, when I went out to look for bows, I had heard about Elite, and I was just trying to get into something because archery season in New York was starting, well, and PA was starting within a month, and I didn't want to mess around. And it was the end of my work season. And at the time, I was driving myself back and forth to a job site, and I stopped on the way back and this bow retails at $999.99. The guy gave me a pretty good discount on it. I think it was because it was the last one they had in stock. And the bow that I went there to look for, they didn't have, so he sold me this bow for about $100 more than the bow that I was actually looking at. So I picked this up. Like I said, killed stuff with it. Good bow, nothing really to complain about it with. Like I said, until I'm trying to shoot those longer distances, it just wasn't working out for me. There's numerous reasons. And one of them is the torque on the string. It was I could feel it. I could feel it in the riser. I could feel it in the cams. I could just feel it everywhere when I would draw back an anchor. If I wasn't anchoring just right, I shoot a thumb release. I like to turn my hand a little bit. That's how I anchor, with my two knuckles into my jaw. And just with that little bit of tension on the string, I could basically feel it all throughout the bow when I would shoot. So found this bow. Hoyt has one too this year, or it might have been from last year as well. I know this is last year's bow as well. But they're keeping it in lineup. Hoyt's keeping theirs in their lineup. This one was just a little bit faster than the Hoyt was. 23 and a half to 29 and a half. 29 is the draw length on this here. Me shooting 27 basically puts me right in the middle there. I'm shooting 367 grain arrows. And right now this is just under 300 feet per second. So this one, when we shot it, I think it was 269, and that one was 12 feet per second faster at the time. Whatever that is. My math isn't mathing right now. Yeah, this bow here is 23 and a half to 30 and a half for your draw length. It says it's supposed to come with the performance cams on it, but Elite's website says that it comes standard with the performance cams, which would be quarter-inch adjustments and 70 to 90% let off. I usually stay between 75 and 80 for my let off, but I didn't even touch the let off on this. I just went out, got it sighted in, shot as much as possible, killed stuff with it, and then started looking around. So yeah, this does have half-inch adjustments on it. It does have the riser that's built for specific rests. You could put any rest on it, but if you buy the Elite QAD rest or the Hamsky Elite rest, they'll basically fit right on the bow. And the way they fit on there, it basically just knocks out a little bit of paper tuning that you have to do, which it still took me a while to paper tune this bow. The gentleman that set it up for me, he didn't work at the place they bought it from. They didn't have a bow technician that worked there, which I didn't know when I bought it. So they referred me to somebody else. He paper tuned it, got it close where he thought it was pretty much perfect, but I had some issues with it when I got home, so I paper tuned it just a little bit further away than what he was doing and realized it needed a little bit of adjustment. So I did that. And this bow, the only other complaint I really have about it is that when you draw it, it is a little bit loud. There's a squeak in it. I don't know. I've tried everything. I've tried getting some of that string snot stuff that you feel, around your cam. You can put it down in your bearings. You can put it on your cable guide, and it's supposed to keep everything nice and smooth. It's not necessarily, I don't think it's supposed to quiet anything down, but I thought maybe it would help. That didn't do anything. I tried moving the cable guide in or out. That did not help. When I tried to move it out, it threw the bow way off. I tried to move it in just a little bit more, and then I just adjusted my arrows to miss the guide, but that was actually making it louder for whatever reason. So it must have been something with this. I don't know what still, but because if I turn these by hand, I don't feel any friction or anything. But regardless, whatever. It was a little creaky. It didn't seem to affect the deer at all. I could just hear it and it bugged me. Um, Back wall is also squishy on it. They say it has a nice solid back wall. It is a little bit squishy, but I did get used to it. Once I let the let off down to like 80, that did fix it a little bit. It still wasn't that solid, but it did help. This bow here right now, I have it at 85% let off. It's 80 or 85. You can't go down to 75. At least I don't think so. They don't list it that you can. It says 80 or 85% let off, which is fine. I have it at 85 right now. I haven't really messed around with it. I'm still just getting used to shooting the bow. But I will drop that down to 80 here soon. And then adjusting, which I don't know if it's the same thing on this. I don't think it is. I think this is all limbs. I'm positive, actually, yeah. You have to adjust the draw weight by the limbs on this. This here comes with 2 limbs, or comes with, you can get with 2 different limbs. It's the same limb. It's the Arc 7 limb, but you can get a light limb that's tapered up here in the pocket. That one is 41, 45, 49, 52, 56, or 60 pounds is what you can get out of that limb. But the poundage is all set by that module right there. I have standard limbs on this because I have it at 65 right now. Once I'm ready, once I get used to shooting the bow, I'm going to go try out the 75-pound modules. If those shoot fine and I'm not dogging out after like 10 or 15 shots, I'm just going to go ahead and just max it right out at 80 and then just start building some new arrows. But I want to try to get as much as I can out of it, and that's as much as I can get out of it. So I did opt for a different rest. I didn't just go with another QAD or with just any other QAD. I did go with the MX2, the Mathews QAD rest. I actually do like it better because it hooks up and around the forks on the rest itself. So once that rest is put in, or once that arrow is put in place, it's staying there. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to fall out. This one here is softer plastic. So I have had arrows pop out of there before. Everything on this bow, you need to tune it, is just right here. You don't need a bow press for literally anything. If you're running out of room with your rest, you just go up here, take these end screws out of either side of your axle, and there's a screw inside the axle that you can turn to not pivot, but slide this cam one way or the other when you're doing your paper tuning. We did have to do that with this bow. I think we had to turn it to the right just a little, or I'm sorry, to the left just a little bit. I don't remember exactly. You can't do that with this. This is all basically in the cables. I'm sure that cable guide is supposed to help with some of that as well. And I'm sure it would if you just moved it in small increments, if you were just having a, if you're just off with your paper. But other than that, I'm pretty sure with this bow here, you'd have to put it in a press, take your cables out, turn them in and out, put them back on, shoot it, do all that stuff. And nobody wants to have to do that anymore. Yeah, anyways, I got this bow here because I'm short and fat and got a short draw length. And this bow is short and fat and meant for people with short draw lengths. I shoot it a lot better just with the little bit that I've shot it. I'm very happy with it. Nothing against Elite. Elite makes great bows. They're winning tournaments all over the place. So yeah, that was my reason for switching. I want to be able to shoot further. I want to be able to shoot higher poundage, and I just want a bow that fits me right. And that one does it. Uh, each one of them comes with multiple fit and finishes. This is the green ambush or ambush green. It's basically just an OD green, I guess. I don't know. I like it. I like a solid color. Generally, if I do a camo bow, I'll do like a camo riser and try to do black limbs, which is exactly what this had. So I was pretty stoked about that when I saw it. Um, I would not recommend shooting it in a blind unless you're really going to pay attention to what you're shooting at and where your cam is. Because I had that issue this year. I missed an 8 point in New York because I drew through a window where I thought I had plenty of space, and I ended up bouncing this cam off the top of my blind, and it knocked my bow down. And when it knocked my bow down, I shot low and I shot through one of the rods on my pop-up blind. And that buck took off. He wasn't sticking around to see what was happening. So this bow here, I would imagine it's an excellent blind bow, or however you want to say that. I think I'm going to have an easier time in my saddle with this bow too, trying to maneuver around. I wouldn't necessarily say that was a problem with this bow because I did it. It wasn't an issue. But I think with a shorter bow, trying to get around my tether, or trying to, put my tether in front of me to hug a tree to get a shot off, whatever, uh, this bow did kind of get hung up on some stuff, which, you know, I think that's more my problem than it is the bow's problem because I just was trying to slowly rush and not pay attention. But I don't think I'm going to have to worry about it with that one. So, yeah, again, that's it. So, short people, short draw bow, excellent. You're going to shoot it good. If somebody tells you that a short bow like this can't shoot for their distances or is going to be less accurate, they're full of shit. That's not a thing anymore. These bows shoot so fast that you're never going to have to worry about that. I mean, it might affect it in the tiniest bit, but it's going to be not even noticeable. This bow here, again, if you're just going to hunt and you want a bow that's still a flagship bow, has a little bit of speed to it, if you have a draw length, I'd say if you're 28 to 30 inches, this bow is going to kick ass for you. So that's it. Check them out. Elite. Even though it's a bow that's marketed for women, they have a nice bow for short draws. Mathews, I think, is leading the pack there. Their RS is definitely a rocket. And then Hoyt, they have their short draw version too. I can't remember what it's called offhand to have you go look at it, but just look at Hoyt's website. I'm sure you can find it. If there's anybody else out there doing them, I'm not, I've never been into PSE, so I don't know what PSE has going on, but they're getting more popular, so they might have something. I should say they're getting increasingly more popular. Darton's getting popular again. They're freaking, that Tri-Tech seems to be the bow that everybody's talking about. So I don't know if this year at ATA, if they came out with something different than that, or if they're just going to stick with that platform. But yeah, go check them out for yourself. Go to your local pro shop, shoot them, see what you think. Hop on, tell me if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm right. Like and subscribe if you would. I have some stuff in the works. I am going to get some more stuff to review, even though I know some of you don't like my review videos because I swear a little bit. Yeah, I'll try not to. Like I said in my other video, just the way I talk. Can't help it. All right, yeah, just keep an eye out. I'll do some more reviews. We'll see if we can get you guys some free stuff. But you have to be subscribed to the channel. I'm going to do the same thing on my TikTok. Like, share, subscribe. The channel is just going to get bigger. I'm trying to do more stuff. I got things in the works. I'm going to try to make things more fun for you guys. I'm not going to do a ton of tech talk just because I'm not an archery technician anymore. And like I said, all this stuff has upgraded so much that this is literally the list right here of everything that's on the Mathews alone. So there's a chance that I probably missed something. And this is what the Elite had going on. So trying to go through all that shit is, for me, impossible. I can't keep my mind in one place. So if you do have any questions, though, and you guys don't feel like looking it up, leave it in the comments. I'll look it up for you, and I'll comment back and let you know what I find. All right, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Love ya.